Workshops.com. I'm Rod Tanner.
The views expressed on the following program do not necessarily reflect the views of Money Radio staff, management, or advertisers, and do not represent an offer to buy or sell any securities. Some interviews heard on this program may be sponsored by the participants. It's time for Health Futures with Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth. This is Arizona's only show dedicated to providing you with expert advice on how to live a longer, healthier, and happier life. To learn more, call 602-264-8009. That's 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Bob Roth.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You, and I'm your host, Bob Roth. And, of course, it is Friday. It's hard to believe it. The weeks are just flying by. It is Friday, October 12th. We're coming at you live from the Scottsdale Air Park. And the weather here in Scottsdale and Phoenix and the surrounding area is just absolutely gorgeous. This is why we live here, and this is the time to be here. So if you're just tuning in for the very first time, our show is a show about how our older adult population can live a healthier, happier life. And how do they do that? We do that here at Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. We do that by bringing you extraordinary guests. And if you want to hear some of the shows that we've been bringing to you for the last 5 years, I encourage you to go out to our website at CypressHomeCare.com, and up on the top you'll see a media button. Click on that button, hit the drop down, and you'll find on the third one down, you'll find radio show, and you'll find about 200 or so radio shows that we've been bringing to you for the last 5 years. So one of the things I want to do real quickly is we have a lot of events happening over these next couple weeks. First and foremost, tomorrow is a 2018 Walk to End Alzheimer's event. It's in the West Valley. It's over at the Beardsley Recreation Center, and that is 12755 Beardsley Road, Sun City West. Registration starts at 7. The ceremony starts at 8 a.m., and it is an incredible cause to help knock out this horrible disease that I've talked about endlessly here on this show. So if you are free on Saturday morning, go out to the Beardsley Recreation Center and walk to find a cure or a way to eliminate this disease called Alzheimer's. A couple other events that are happening. Next Saturday, there is a Honor Health Breast Cancer Symposium. That is an early detection to survivorship. And if you want to learn more about it, go to honorhealth.com/2018 event. It is an incredible event. They've got a great lineup here. And I want to just make sure that everybody is aware of that. We also have an event coming up at the JCC. It is the Valley of the Sun JCC, and they are hosting an event on Sunday, October 21st, which happens to be my anniversary. To my lovely bride, Susie Roth, I want to give a shout out, 29 years. We are going to help promote that next week. We've got the doctors that are going to be there at the JCC promoting the event. So I wanted to just give a quick shout out, make sure everyone was aware of that. And it is at the Valley of the Sun JCC. It's from 10 to 11:30 a.m. And please, I love their title. It's Busting Out for Breast Cancer. And then the other event we have is next week. We've got Family Caregiver Symposium. Last week, I had Shelley Everson here on the studio. She is Public Affairs for Duet, Partners in Health and Aging. That is next Thursday, October 18th, from 9 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., and the location is First Christian Church of Phoenix. And before I get into my next guest, I want to just give a reminder to our older adults out there. If you are 64 or 65 years old, open enrollment for Medicare starts on Monday. It is from October 15th to December 15th, and if you've not done any planning on that, I encourage you to do so. So the next event, and like I said, we have a lot of great events that are happening in October, is coming up on October 26th. It's Stand Up to Fall Symposium and Community Education event. It's free to the public and to providers. And the person who is in charge of this is a woman by the name of Shannon Dunn. She's the chair of the Arizona Falls Prevention Coalition. She's also a trauma injury prevention and outreach coordinator, flight nurse for Honor Health. Shannon, are you on the line?
I am. How are you doing, Bob?
Good, good. I wanted to give a call out to all these great events that are happening in October. Many of them are happening outdoors because the weather's just so ideal and outstanding here. This event is coming up rather quickly, October 26th, so it's 2 weeks from now. Please, if you would, I'd love for you to just give a quick promo on it, and then I want to talk a little bit about Stand Up to Falls and what that is all about.
Absolutely. I know you've had other guests on your show from the Arizona Falls Coalition, and we really wanted to start getting the community involved and providers involved in this very important topic of fall-related injuries and fall-related deaths. And that's what this symposium is all about. We have several different tracks available. So we have tracks geared towards people that provide care for those that may have suffered a fall injury. And then we also have tracks for the community on what they can do for prevention, what they can expect health-wise. We've got some fantastic speakers. We've got Dr. Janice Marks coming from the CDC. She's our keynote speaker. Dr. Lieberman is going to be our lunch speaker. Lunch is provided and is also free.
And that's Dr. Lieberman from Barrow's Neurological Institute, the Muhammad Ali?
That is correct.
Wow.
Yes, that is correct.
He's a rock star. Absolutely. Great.
Is. And then Dr. Lockhart is speaking among many other fabulous speakers and individuals coming out. We're going to have Tai Chi demonstrations. We've got a lot of great vendors coming out to this event that have made this event possible. And we want to make this an annual event because it's very important to get the message out about fall-related injuries. And I don't think everyone quite understands the impact of falls and fall injuries and deaths. So much so that fall injuries and deaths actually are either equal to or in some cases, in some studies, surpassing those of motor vehicle crashes. That's a big deal.
It is.
Everyone knows it.
It is a big deal. And thank you for bringing up that we've had some guests from the coalition here on the show. We dedicated 2 shows in the month of September, and we can't talk enough about how to prevent falls. Fall prevention is one of the things that if we can just get that awareness out there and help educate people to just look for the signs, because it is preventable. It's a matter of getting the word out there.
Absolutely.
Well,
and
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. We just want to extend this. Please bring your families to this. It'll be a terrific event. And if anyone has any questions about it, you can register at azstopfalls.org, and there's a link to register for the event on there.
And I also believe you have a phone number too. You want to give that out too, if you want to.
The phone number is just for information regarding the event, if anyone has questions, and that's 623-879-5668.
When we get into the second segment, Shannon, I want us to talk a little bit about some of the stats, because I think the statistics are daunting, and really, it really shows and really speaks volume to the fact that we can do something about this. This doesn't have to happen, and we can prevent falls, and knowledge is power. So the event is October 26th, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and it's over at Honor Health John C. Lincoln, the Cowden Center, and that's over at 9202 North 2nd Street, Phoenix, Arizona, 85020. And as you shared before, you can learn more at azstopfalls.org. And other than that, I know we're going to come up here on a break really soon. I want to make sure that I give enough time to really talk about some of these questions and really giving facts and figures. But I want to give just a real quick tease. Statistically, and you have shared a lot of great information with me, but 50 billion is the number, is the total medical cost for falls per year. 50 billion. And then a statistic that I received too was 17 and a half hours is the average hours a person spends without help after a fall. That number is just crazy. 17 and a half hours. And, I've said this here on our show. We have lots of seniors, lots of people that are 65 and older that are living home alone and don't have anybody there to support them. And the number is about a third of our seniors 65 and older live home alone. So we need to be mindful of prevention and be mindful of loose rugs. We need to be mindful of extension cords, corner tables that could be detrimental to someone with that could take a fall and get hit in the head. So there's a lot of things that we need to be mindful of. We got some music coming on. We got 3 more segments ahead of us. Shannon, this show goes rather fast, so when we jump back in, I want to ask you some specific questions about falls, and we'll take our listening audience through this. But more than anything, I want there to be that awareness and knowledge about how to prevent falls. You've been listening to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. I'm your host, Bob Roth, and I'm pleased to have Shannon Dunn here on the studio. She's the chair of the Arizona Falls Prevention Coalition. We'll be right back.
Bill Gunderson's nationwide Best Stocks radio show is now on Money Radio 1510 AM and 105.3 FM. Every morning from 9 to 10 a.m., professional money manager Bill Gunderson will talk about the economy, markets, and the best stocks now. Bill Gunderson is also the inventor of the Best Stocks Now app and the writer of the weekly Best Stocks Now newsletter. If you like to invest in the markets, this is the show for you. You will not want to miss one episode. Visit GundersonCapital.com for more info. That's GundersonCapital.com.
Hi, this is Ken from Online Trading Academy Phoenix. In this series of spots, I'm going to debunk some common market myths. Myth 3. The key to success in the markets is to do your homework and really understand a company before you invest. Here's reality. We'll never know the truth about what's really happening at a company, and trying to compete with corporate insiders and big institutions like Goldman Sachs on information is a losing strategy. For example, for 6 weeks after Equifax was hacked, company insiders were selling stock, but they didn't tell us about the breach. When the news finally came out, the market was closed and the stock fell almost 15% overnight and over 30% in a week. Yet analysts continued to recommend the stock. To learn a better way to make money in up or down markets, come to a free Online Trading Academy half-day class. For free tickets, text STOCKS, STOCKS, to 31996. Text STOCKS to 31996 and select the date and time that's best for you.
Darren College, a former NFL Super Bowl champion, signed the most important contract of his life to serve in the Army National Guard.
I've had a lot of military in my family. It's a big part of what my family's done for a long time. I want to go out there and make a difference. I didn't find that working behind a desk, so for me it was a pretty easy decision to make. And then the opportunity to serve my community and serve my country was just icing on the cake.
To learn how to be part of the Army National Guard, log on to nationalguard.com. Sponsored by the Arizona Army National Guard. Aired by the Arizona Broadcasters Association and this station.
The Home Depot, the next generation of home improvement with everything you need to do projects smarter. The Home Depot, more saving, more doing.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress Home Care Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. You're listening to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. I'm your host, Bob Roth, and we are on our second segment. And if you're just tuning in, I am talking about Arizona Falls prevention. I have got Shannon Dunn. She is a nurse, and she's also the chair of the Arizona Falls Prevention Coalition. And her full-time job is she's a trauma injury prevention and outreach coordinator, flight nurse for, it's Honor Health, right, Shannon?
So I actually work two jobs. So, I'm the trauma injury prevention outreach coordinator for Honor Health. And then I also work as a flight nurse.
Oh, there you go.
That might make a little bit more sense.
and then your third job is you do this, obviously, as a volunteer, and you're chairing this Arizona Falls Prevention Coalition. And this, if you're just tuning in, she's here talking today about this great event that's coming up on October 26th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Honor Health John C. Lincoln at the Cowden Center, 9202 North 2nd Street in Phoenix, Arizona, 85020. And the way to learn more is go to azstopfalls.org. You can call also at 623-879-5668. So I'm going to pepper you with a couple questions, and I'd love for you to share with our listening audience what you know and how, we can educate our listening audience to really be more knowledgeable about falls and how to prevent falls. So first and foremost, how big of an impact can a fall have on a family?
Well, in America, family units are multi-generational, and I'm speaking from personal experience and then what I've seen with being 12 years as a ER nurse and then working as a flight nurse as well. As our older adults age, they either tend to choose to move closer to individuals around them so that they have more of a family unit support, or they actually join in and move in with their children, or they move in with other family members for support. Others choose to go into communities where more resources are available for them. But when a fall injury occurs, especially when an individual is still working full-time to support their family, there's multiple levels of impact that it can have on the family. There's the physical strain that's caused from the injury, the pain, the recovery period from that, and no one likes to see someone that they care about injured. There's also the emotional strain that affects the family unit that goes along with this. They're seeing their loved one hurt. They're seeing their loved one fear being injured again, so they start self-limiting, and we'll talk about that a little bit more possibly. But then there's also the financial strain, because what if this individual is the main supporter and now cannot work due to this fall injury? What if they can't go back to their line of work after this injury? And it, once we get into later in life, it's hard to make a complete career change at that point.
And it also
it can have devastating effects.
It also can be very complex for, some of the reasons I talked about in the first segment. What if that person lives home alone? And there's nobody home to receive this person after they've done their stay in an acute or post-acute setting, and they find themselves into a rehab hospital. And, that there's just the challenges that come along with that. And statistically, Shannon, I'm not sure you're aware of this, but nationally now, because of the advent of technology and travel, and the fact that people, especially here in Arizona, have chosen to live here because of the climate, the nuclear families no longer really exist. And on average, the closest adult child is about 280 miles away.
Oh, I was not aware of that.
280 miles. So my next question to you is, this is more of a data question, so we can really get our arms around, what this costs. What is the average cost of a fall and that results in a hospital stay?
So everyone likes to talk about costs of health care in the billions, but it's very hard for us to personalize that number because most of us aren't going to see billions in our lifetime. So I really wanted to do research on this when I started getting involved in fall prevention. So I decided to look at the average hospital cost for a fall injury. And according to the CDC in 2015, the average hospital cost for a fall injury is roughly $35,000. So then I wanted to take it a step further. I said, okay, well, Medicare covers some of this, right? So how much would Medicare pay for? So Medicare pays for about 78% of the cost of this fall. So that means the individual is left with roughly 22%. So if we do the math on that, that equals roughly $7,700 for the incident of one fall injury that resulted in a hospitalization, on average. These are all averages. And then I took it a step further, and I said, well, most people after retirement are on a fixed income. So I said, well, what does this mean to someone who's on a fixed income? And the median real income for a household of those over age 65 is lower than $37,000 a year, according to the Census Bureau in 2014. So what this works out to is that the $7,700 you're left with after Medicare pays its portion of those costs from the hospital is about 19% of a household's yearly income. And then I thought about that, and I said, if someone took 19% out of my yearly income, I'd be devastated. That's a huge chunk of money to take out of my income.
It is.
And when you have a fixed income, there's not a lot of room for that kind of, to absorb a cost like that. And that's scary.
It is scary, especially, as you said, most of these individuals that are 65 and older living on a fixed income, and they have no other sources of income.
And then when you bring up the fact, like you said before, that a nearest relative that could help out and maybe offer some solutions to this, you said, what, 280
miles away. Average adult child.
Away.
Yep.
So 280 miles away, that means if you do need to bring a family member home to help absorb these costs because you can no longer afford your own house or something, you can't afford medical or something, that means relocating and restarting a life somewhere else. It's not just going down the block or down the street. It means a huge adjustment for these families.
It does.
That means
it does, and the facts and figures are so daunting. And I mean, you just shared over the last couple of minutes, just the costs. And I love the fact that I gave that stat about $50 billion, and it's hard to get your arms around a number like billion. That's what the total medical costs are for falls per year. But I liked how you drilled it down, and you drilled it down for just an average person that has a fall that results in a hospital stay. And I know, you shared some of the data points with me. Those are data points that you got from the CDC. And by the way, if you missed our first segment, they're keynote speakers from the CDC. It's Dr. Janice Mark, and that's so awesome that you got her coming to talk about fall prevention.
Yeah, she's going to be talking about fall prevention in the STEADY program, and we're so excited to have her. We're excited to have all our speakers, in fact. I mean, just to see the people that wanted to contribute to this just really touched my heart, because it means that the message is at least getting out in the medical profession about how large the incidence is of fall injuries and fall deaths. So now we've got to make sure we educate the public and start the prevention part of it.
Shannon, we're coming up on halftime here, so stick around. We're going to talk about some other costs that are associated with this. You've been listening to Health Futures Taking Stock in You. We're talking fall prevention.
Dogs are helping search teams look for the missing. From Florida's Hurricane Michael, correspondent Miguel Marquez is in Mexico Beach.
Block after block, just buzzsawed down to the foundations. You have beachfront properties now washed way into town, and that is what search and rescuers are trying to get through now.
Facebook says it has gotten a handle on a security breach affecting nearly 30 million accounts, but it hasn't ruled out the possibility of smaller scale efforts to exploit the same vulnerability. Are you feeling lucky?
The Mega Millions jackpot has grown to $548 million with the last big win back in July. Most winners opt for cash, which for tonight's drawing works out to $309 million. But the odds of matching all 6 Mega Millions numbers is 1 in more than 302 million.
Correspondent Ann Cates on Wall Street. A better day. Tech stocks are up. The Dow up more than 250 points. I'm Mike Moss.
Are you stuck with a low credit score? A credit report and score that's causing you to be denied credit or pay higher interest rates than others for the same things? Then do what Terrence did and call the experts at creditrepair.com for your free credit evaluation and game plan to help restore your credit.
I started thinking about buying a new house and my score wasn't where I needed it to be. I called and spoke with one of the representatives and just had a good conversation, and I liked what he was saying.
Just one call for his free credit evaluation was all it took.
I'm seeing the deletions and I'm getting the report, so I know something's being done. It does make a difference to me.
At creditrepair.com, dreams do happen.
Thanks to creditrepair.com, I will be able to have a better credit score and get that house.
Don't let a low credit score hold you back another day. Do what Terrence did and make the call for your free credit evaluation and game plan to help get back on track to great credit.
Call 800-343-4750. That's 800-343-4750. 800-343-4750.
There are many who call themselves money experts. You're listening to Money Radio, a quarter century of bringing you the best in money experts every day.
Bill Gunderson's Nationwide Best Stocks radio show is now on Money Radio 1510 AM and 105.3 FM. Every morning from 9 to 10 a.m., professional money manager Bill Gunderson will talk about the economy, markets, and the best stocks now. Bill Gunderson is also the inventor of the Best Stocks Now app and the writer of the weekly Best Stocks Now newsletter. If you like to invest in the markets, this is the show for you. You will not want to miss one episode. Visit GundersonCapital.com for more info. That's GundersonCapital.com.
Power Networking Group is a proud sponsor of the Power Networking Radio Hour. Hi, I'm Tammy Adams, Director of Professional Development for the Power Networking Group. Power Networking Group is the most powerful and fastest growing small business networking group in Pinal County, and now chapters are forming in Phoenix and Scottsdale as well. The Power Networking Group is a new way for small businesses to network and grow their business. And the best thing is that home-based businesses anywhere in Arizona can join for free. That's right. If you own a home-based or brick-and-mortar business in Arizona, you will want to take advantage of our free monthly networking events, plus our professional development workshops on topics like bookkeeping, networking for success, marketing, and so much more. So if you're interested, give us a call at 888-432-8187 or visit us over on our Facebook page, Power Networking Group. Don't forget to check out our website, powernetworkinggroup.org, for more information and start growing professionally and growing your business right now.
The Army National Guard is committed to keeping the country safe and our communities secure. Composed of hundreds of thousands of citizen soldiers from all walks of life, the Guard is always ready to respond to local or national emergencies. We protect the homeland. We're always there when called upon, and in every state and territory, we stand guard for our communities. To learn more, log on to NationalGuard.com. Sponsored by the Arizona Army National Guard. Aired by the Arizona Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hiring? Try ZipRecruiter. Unlike most job boards, ZipRecruiter finds candidates for you and actively invites them to apply, so you get qualified candidates fast. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/join.
Jim Chesko with Your Money Now. Prices for foreign-made goods imported to the U.S. rose a greater than expected 0.5% in September, driven by a stark rise in prices for imported fuel. The Labor Department notes that this is the first monthly rise in import prices since May. Compared to a year earlier, import prices are up 3.5%. Petroleum import prices grew 4.1% from August, while prices for imports excluding petroleum were flat. This is a much calmer day on Wall Street after that huge two-day retreat. Right now, the Dow Industrials are rebounding 174 points higher. The Nasdaq's up 128. The S&P has gained 27. Lionsgate Television and BBC Studios Los Angeles announced they are teaming up to create original shows. The two companies will identify, co-develop, and co-fund scripted shows and original intellectual property for the U.S. TV market. Shares of Lionsgate are up 2.75% today. And oil futures edged higher today, November crude settling up 37 cents. That's Your Money Now.
My number two does not look like a number two. I don't know what to call it. Is there a number three?
Table for 4, please. Anything close to the restroom.
A middle seat with these stomach problems? That's my fear of flying.
Sound like you? If it does, you could be one of the many people with a digestive condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. Even if you don't know what EPI is, you might know the symptoms: frequent diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain. If you have even just one of these symptoms, you could still have EPI, because not everybody experiences EPI the same way, which is why it's so important to open up to your doctor about all your symptoms. And the good news is, EPI is manageable, so don't keep a lid on it. Go to identifyepi.com, complete the symptom checker, and use it to have a conversation with your doctor. Don't keep a lid on it. Visit identifyepi.com. Brought to you by AbbVie.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. You're listening to Health Futures, taking stock in you. I'm your host, Bob Roth, and we are on segment number 3. And if you're just tuning in, we're talking about falls and fall prevention. And Wes, thank you for putting a little Tom Petty on, Free Falling. I think it's a apropos song to really break into our second half. And if you haven't been listening to the first 2 segments, you can catch them up on our website at cypresshomecare.com. Click on the media button up on the very top. Third button down is the radio show, and you can catch this show here today and over 200 others that we've been bringing to you for the last 5 years. I have Shannon Dunn. She is the chair of the Arizona Falls Prevention Coalition, and they have an extraordinary event coming up on October 26th from 9 to 4. It is called Stand Up to Falls Symposium and Community Education Event, and it's free to the public and providers. And it's located over at Honor Health John C. Lincoln, the Cowden Center, 9202 North 2nd Street, and that's Phoenix, Arizona. And you can learn more by just going to the website at azstopfalls.org. So, Shannon, we left off, we talked about some of the challenges that falls are bringing to families financially. And we really haven't gotten into the emotional costs that come along with it. But we did give some statistics about how far families are. Certainly the adult child on average is about 280 miles away from their parents, and it's hard to rely on the family. But there's a whole myriad of emotional challenges that come along with that. And I'd love for you to walk us through some of those challenges that many of the families experience.
Well, from the moment we're born, we're reaching for our independence. We want to learn to walk on our own. We want to learn to talk on our own. We want to do things for ourselves. We want to be able to feed ourselves. That rite to passage in adolescence of being able to drive an automobile, not relying on someone else to get you from point A to point B, and that independence and starting your own family and everything. We're constantly moving forward with that for the majority of our life. And the fear of losing independence is very real as we become older. Speaking for myself, I had a fall injury, and I broke my ankle. And not being able to go about my activities of daily living was just the worst part of that injury. It wasn't the pain associated with the injury. It was the fact that for the first several days after the injury, I had a hard time trying to even make myself a sandwich and getting around, because how do you carry a plate when you're on crutches?
Right.
And these are things we don't always think about. And that small period of time where I did lose my independence, and I luckily had several friends staying with me. I have a very supportive family unit with my parents. They were over helping me. They don't live too far away, thankfully. But in my own personal experience, it still is devastating to me. I don't do well that way. I need to be out and active and doing things. And that, I couldn't work my flight job at that time. It was a very, very eye-opening situation for me, because then I started thinking, when we get older and we have these falls and you break a hip, or you have a head injury from a fall, recovery isn't always as quick. It can take a lot longer, and it's devastating. And no one wants to lose that independence. So people often find when they fall, they become afraid of falling again, so they start limiting their behaviors. They won't take the stairs as much. They're not going to go out to eat. They'd rather stay in. They make fewer trips out to the grocery store. They don't want to go for that evening walk anymore, because what if they trip and fall and hurt themselves? And the problem with fall injuries, when we do these self-limiting behaviors, we think we're actually saving ourselves, but we're actually setting ourselves up for a more detrimental injury. Because when we stop engaging in our normal activities and we start limiting our activities, so we're not out walking, we're not out lifting groceries, simple activities like that, and we start limiting it, we actually slow down our body's strength. We slow down our balance, so our balance isn't as good. And what this means is when we have that injury, our recovery time increases. And we also our bones become more brittle when we're not walking and we're not putting weight and stress on them. That's how our bones rebuild, is through usage. It's kind of like the old adage, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Right.
And that's very true when it comes to falls. And so when people self-limit, they're actually setting themselves up for a worse injury because they're at more risk to fall because their balance isn't as good. Their muscles may not be as strong because they're not using them. Their bone structure is weaker because they're not up and walking or engaging in activities like Tai Chi or water aerobics. But just those simple, normal activities of daily living are so important to continually engage in. And that's what's the biggest danger with these fall injuries. And I see it in my own personal practice as a nurse. People fall. They tend to stay home. They want to stay where they can be safe. And they don't tend to want to change their environments. And you had brought up earlier, the hazards of rugs and cords around as trip hazards. Making sure you have clear walkways are so important in Arizona. The other thing that we have to consider in Arizona is our fall surfaces. Most of our homes have tile. This is a lot harder to fall on than a carpeted area. And it has a lot to do with head injuries as well, because if your head hits on tile, you could have worse head injuries, brain bleeds and things like that, than if you have a softer area that you fall onto. And so there's all these things that we have to consider and start thinking about. And it's these are things that we need to, really start looking at and helping with our families and looking at our neighbors and friends and saying, hey, maybe we should get rid of this rug because, I almost tripped over it once. What's it going to take for me to actually fall over it again?
You started our show talking about your other job, so to speak, your real job being a trauma nurse, and talked about how, the extent of some of the people that you're seeing today that are entering into the ER from falls is very similar. And I heard Dr. Mangrum say this from G60. It's very similar to some of these automobile accidents that we see today and we've seen in the past. I mean, they are violent injuries. I mean, especially taking a fall downstairs, you must see just about everything.
I am amazed sometimes of the level of injury that's caused from a ground level fall at times. There's always multifactorial considerations with that, but I work very closely with Dr. Mangrum and her G60 program. It's just fantastic. But it is true. It's amazing what can happen when you fall just from a standing position. And some of that can just happen very easily. One of the things I always like to bring up when I lecture is in Arizona we have this great ball of sun, and I'm from Oregon, so when I first moved here, this was a huge shock to my system. We didn't see that very often.
Right.
And so when you come outside from either inside your home or from a store, your eyes adjust. We all know this. There's that pupillary response that we have when we come in contact with bright light. What a lot of people don't know is that as we get older, that response decreases. So it makes it harder for us to see when we first are exposed to that sunlight. Well, what are we doing when we walk out? We're walking out curbs. We're going into parking lots. There's lots of dangers where we need acute eyesight to be present. And when we have that slower pupillary response time, that's where we can misjudge where a step is or how steep a step is, and that's where these ground level falls are occurring. And now we're outside in cement.
Right.
And I have seen such horrible accidents that are just, flukes of nature. And that's where people start self-limiting, like I said before. And we can't do that. We need to be out, but we need to be aware of these things
so
that we can know.
You're absolutely right. And, I had the pleasure in September having Dr. Babak Nairi from the Department of Health Services on. And, one of the things that we've talked about here on our show, especially with social isolation and individuals 65 and older living home alone, is the prevalence of alcoholism. And you think about alcohol and mixing it with some of the medications that these older adults are taking are undoubtedly causing a lot of these falls.
Medication is a huge contributing factor or risk factor for fall injuries. You can put on TV at any time when there's a commercial about any given drug, and usually one of the most popular side effects you're going to hear about them is may cause dizziness. It's especially true with our blood pressure medications. As we get older, many people are on blood pressure medications. And it can be one of those things where that can cause dizziness and affect us in different ways. If we ate too much salt, it may affect the way that blood pressure medication is working. So our diet, and there's many other medications, pain medications. And then when you add alcohol into the mix, it intensifies all those reactions.
Absolutely. We got a little music taking us out. Shannon, I told you it flies fast. So we're down 3 segments. We got a 4th one on our way. I'm just going to give one factoid out. Falls are the second leading cause of accidental or unintentional injury deaths worldwide. We'll give you some more great nuggets about falls, but more importantly, we'll promo the upcoming event, Stand Up to Falls Symposium, when we get back. We're down 3 segments. You're listening to Health Futures Taking Stock in You. I'm your host, Bob Roth. I've got Shannon Dunn in the studio. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Mo Ansari, host of Market Wrap and president of Compact Asset Management. What a difference a day makes in these markets. But will you be on the right side from one day to the next? Market volatility is the time when you need to remain the most rational about your investment decisions. Yet it is the time when investors become the most emotional and often make devastating choices. So if you need some help, dial pound 250 on your cell phone, use the keyword TALK to Mo, and ask for your free report on coping with market volatility. You can also make an appointment to meet with me for a free portfolio review. Again, from your cell phone, dial pound 250, talk to Mo, and get your free report, Coping with Market Volatility. Ask for your free portfolio review also.
Compact Asset Management is a registered investment advisor, funds custodian, Fidelity Institutional Wealth Services, member FINRA, SIPC.
Hi, this is Ken from Online Trading Academy, Phoenix. In this series of spots, I'm going to debunk some common myths about the market. Myth 4. I hear a lot of people say, I've been making money in the market for years. I know what I'm doing. Well, first, congratulations. I'm glad you're having success. But be careful. For 8 years, the market has done nothing but go straight up, and the money's been easy. But as Warren Buffett says, only when the tide goes out do you discover who's been swimming naked. The reality is that most people haven't come close to the 300% returns that the market has is provided, and they don't have a plan for when the party ends. To learn how to maximize profits in both up and down markets, come to a free online Trading Academy half-day class. For free tickets, text STOCKS, STOCKS, to 31996. Text STOCKS to 31996 now and select the date and time that is best for you. Text STOCKS to 31996. Hope to see you soon.
The Home Depot, the next generation of home improvement with everything you need to do projects smarter. The Home Depot. More saving, more doing.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress HomeCare Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. You're listening to Health Futures, taking stock in you. I'm your host, Bob Roth. And if you're just tuning in, we're on our fourth segment, and I've got Shannon Dunn. She is the chair of the Arizona Falls Prevention Coalition. She's also a trauma nurse and an outreach coordinator, and also happens to be a flight nurse. And today love the cowbell. We're working for the weekend, right, Shannon? Oh, it's almost weekend time. There you go. Well, listen, the Stand Up to Fall Symposium is coming up. I want to just give real quick shout out. It's coming up on October 26th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's at the Honor Health John C. Lincoln Cowden Center. That's at 9202 North 2nd Street in Phoenix, Arizona. And if you want to learn more, go to azstopfalls.org. And we've been talking about falls. We've been talking about the challenges that it must bring and does bring families. We've also talked about the costs of it. We did talk to the emotional costs and the challenges that are associated with it. And I really want to talk quickly before I give out any more stats, but I did give out one stat right there at the end of our show, or the end of our segment, and that was the fact that this is something that is the second leading cause of accidental and unintentional injury deaths worldwide. So real quickly, these segments go real fast, as you can see, Shannon. How can we change this? What can we do to prevent these falls from happening?
So the number one thing is increasing awareness of this. The CDC has, in fact, projected that 7 fall deaths will occur every hour by the year 2030. And in order for us to prevent the number from getting that high, we need to start with injury prevention. We need to start with making sure that everyone is aware that this is an issue, and we need to make sure that it's something that families are talking about. It's an important conversation to have with your loved ones. We all want our loved ones to be safe, but we need to make sure that they're going about it the right way. And there's so many factors leading into the causes for falls. We touched on some of them: alcohol, medications you may be taking prescribed. Decreasing your activity can put you at a higher risk for falls. And then we have environmental causes, such as steps that may cause you to trip because they're in ill repair, a loose carpet. In our technology-driven world, there are cords everywhere. People are plugging in cell phones, they're plugging in laptops, they're plugging in their tablets to charge, and the outlets aren't always in the greatest places, and that causes these cords to be stretched across, and all it takes is your attention to be drawn to something else while you're walking to trip and fall over them. So that's some of the ways we can start looking at fall prevention. Is first in environmental. Those are controllable things that we can do something about.
You know, you talked about yourself having a fall. The other thing is, it happened to me a couple years back. I fell over my dog, and I ended up breaking my wrist. So, I mean, pets are something you need to be aware of.
They are, and they mean well so much. And I am a huge animal lover, but they like to get underfoot. They don't understand that, and when our recovery time and our balance is off, we're not able to always adjust when they dart out in front of us or twist in between our legs, and it causes a fall. And that's something that, we need to be aware of. And that goes in with proper training with your animals, making sure they learn to walk side by side. And it's something, the more you're aware of it and you keep it in the forefront of your mind, the more prepared you're going to be for it. The biggest thing to do is to stay active. Again, I really love to use the adage, if you don't use it, you lose it. Get out there. Go for your evening walks. If it's getting dark out and you can't see as well, take a big, bright flashlight. It's going to help you see where you're going better. It'll help vehicles see you. There's nothing wrong with that.
And
Go out and enjoy the evenings here.
Our evenings are amazing right now. So my wife and I take walks.
Night.
Yeah. Amazing.
Oh, yeah, and there is so much to enjoy in Arizona, especially now that we're getting into these double-digit numbers instead of triple digits. This is the perfect time to go out and enjoy that. And then in the summer when it's hotter, it's always nice. Water exercise is great. Just walking in your pool is a great way to get up that muscle resistance and help with the exercise too. But the programs that you really should be focusing on, which are vetted, are Tai Chi for arthritis has been proven to help with fall prevention, and it also helps with arthritis by the title. It's evidence-based, and it's a really great way to kind of keep fluid movements going with your body. It helps your muscles, and it helps tone your muscles so that your balance is better. It's a wonderful exercise. A lot of community centers offer it. Some of the hospitals have Tai Chi classes. It's a really good thing to have. And that's one of the things we want to start promoting as the Fall Prevention Coalition is getting more Tai Chi classes available to those individuals in Arizona.
Well, it's hard to believe we're down to about 30 seconds, and I want to just say this. Before you consider taking on an exercise program, you should go see your doctor. Obviously, one of those things is we want you to exercise, but we want you to be cautious and careful and make sure you're working with your healthcare professional in terms of what your exercise program is. I gave a shout out to earlier Family Caregiver Symposium coming up on Thursday, October 18th. Duet's putting that on. We've got the Fall Prevention our Stand Up to Fall Symposium coming up on October 26th. We're going to talk about breast health next Friday, but I've got about 10 or 15 seconds here, less than 10 seconds. Any final remarks, Shannon?
Just thank you for having me on the show and helping spread awareness. I really enjoyed it.
Have a great day. Prevent falls. We'll see you next Friday.
There's no place like home. You've been listening to Bob Roth's Health Futures. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call Cypress HomeCare Solutions at 602-264-8009. That's 602-264-8009. Or visit CypressHomeCare.com. Be sure to join Health Futures with Bob Roth every Friday at noon, right here on Money Radio 1510 and 105.3 FM.
Bill Gunderson's nationwide Best Stocks radio show is now on Money Radio 1510 AM and 105.3 FM. Every morning from 9 to 10 a.m., professional money manager Bill Gunderson will talk about the economy, markets, and the best stocks now. Bill Gunderson is also the inventor of the Best Stocks Now app and the writer of the weekly Best Stocks Now newsletter. If you like to invest in the markets, this is the show for you. You will not want to miss one episode. Visit GundersonCapital.com for more info. That's GundersonCapital.com.
Money Radio 1510
and 105.3 FM.
KFNN, Mesa, Phoenix, and K287BX Mesa. Everything in the market looking a little bit on the green side today. Dow up 304 points at 25,357. S&P up 39 points at 2768. And NASDAQ up 175 points at 7504.
When people want to talk about money, this is the place they come to. And there's more on the way after this break for the latest news. And we begin